Number one, he believed God. Do I have anybody in the house who believe him right now? I believe God. Number two, he obeyed him because he told him to go to Siloam and wash. And when he washed it off, he came seeing. Well, we got that one down, Pat. But how about number three? When he left the pool of Siloam, they asked him, what happened to you? He said, a man named Jesus put some clay over my eyes. Is there anybody that got time to testify? Oh, somebody, I want to testify. I got to tell the world he's been good to me. Yeah. Somebody holler, yeah. He's been good to me. He's been good in the morning, good at noonday, good at the going down of the sun. He told everybody, Jesus laid his hands on me. How did you get like that? What happened to you? All I know, I gave my life to Jesus. He gave me everything. God. We don't want to give God no credit. But we wondering why we don't get no more from him. The fella didn't really know him, because the longer you follow him, the better you know him. All he knows is he's a man named what? Jesus. And the folks still didn't want to say, I tell you what, let's take him to the Pharisees. You know, they thought that the Pharisees would make him shut up and back down. The Pharisees asked him what happened. And he told them, Jesus put clay on my eyes and told me to go wash. And I came seeing. And then you know how folk do. They don't want you to give Jesus any credit. And some of you oblige them. You don't even remember the last time you testified. I ain't talking about opening up a testimony service in here and you practicing on us about, for me, I'm talking about you telling your friends, you telling the folk on the job, you telling your family what God has done for you. It ain't no secret what the Lord has done. This man testified. The Bible said we overcome by what? And the word. Some of us, we in Sunday school, but we just won't testify. You say, Pastor, you ain't got no service. I don't have to have a service. The devil got a service out. There's a dice game. Oh, y'all don't hear me. There's a saloon. There's plenty of places for you to testify. And they say, I tell you what, ask his parents. Ask him, is he their son? And then ask him, what happened to him? They were scared too. I don't want you to raise your hand, but how many folk in here scared? Scared of the devil. Scared to testify. You don't even understand. If you freely would tell what God has done, it put him in a position where he have to do so much more. But you just keeping it to yourself. And you won't tell it. They looked at him and said, this is our son. That we can attest. You know, now, they should have known him. He been blind from birth. He been sitting out there begging for years. But now when God do something for him, they want to play like they don't know him. They said, is he your boy? They said, yes, he's our boy. They said, what happened? They say he's old enough. You ask him. I want to know how many folk in here that's old enough. Old enough to tell what God has done for you. I want to know who in here ain't scared. Oh, yeah. You know, we can come in here and run up and down the aisles. But I wonder, can you get out there and run up and down the street? In here, you look like, you know, all we have to do is put that thing together. You look like you're saved. But how many can go to the grocery store? While other folk complaining about prices, you thanking God that you can buy. Woo. You don't know like I know. Boy, he was a real clown on the loose. He wasn't scared of nobody. They said, what happened? He said, I done told you one. What, you trying to be one of his disciples? You know, the more they fool with that one, he look at your neighbor and say, he's a real clown now. The more courage he picked up. I remember when I was preaching on the street, when they came after me, I didn't know what they were going to do. But when they came after me, the more courage I got. Boy, I was throwing up my legs, my hand, and I started screaming and hollering about God and what all he can do. Woo, I didn't know what was going to happen. That could have been my last time hollering Jesus. And all of a sudden, a man in the street stepped in between me and the other folk and said, y'all leave him alone. Big husky guy. Stepped in there, made him leave me alone. And you know, by then I was real bold by then. I spun around. Kept on preaching. Who is it that did this for you? You know, come on. Some of us came straight off the, I need some mothers now, straight off the street. Not the streets, but the streets. I know the way you look now, look like you always been in church. But you know where you came from. You know it ain't always been like this. So when they question you, and ask you, how is it now? The eyes of your understanding have been enlightened. Now, you know, you can be saved and blind. You blind to the fact that while you begging and crying and rolling all over the place, God has already made a time for you. And it's your time right now. Reach over and touch somebody and tell them, say, it's your time right now. If you do the right thing, woo, boy, and then they say, give glory to God. Now, you know, you got to watch some folk hollering, give glory to God. They meant bypass Jesus. I'm talking to all my Muslim buddies now who want to try to give glory to God without going through Jesus Christ. I want to tell you it's impossible for you to give glory to God and not go through Jesus.